everybody. We are here live with the Thurston'S gang, and I cannot tell you how excited I am. We have 4 right now of the fellow magicians from Thurston's Palace of Mystery, and I am really excited. If you are watching, you are welcome to ask questions in what we call the Peanut Gallery next door. I've got it up now where I can see it. Unfortunately, I don't have it up where I want it to be, but that's okay too. So I can actually see what's going on. Let me bring in here. Let me see who we've got here. We have got all the way from Cleveland, Ohio, the one and only Chip Crego, back in the day known as Mr. Chip. Hi, Chip.
Yeah, Mr. Chip, and also known as Percival the Mentalist.
I do remember that now that you mention it, yes. And who else have I got here? I've got the one and only someone who happens to be in Buffalo right now, and I rather envy him that, in that he can get all the good food right now. Mr. Mike Perry is here.
Yeah, I wondered where I was. Thank you for clarifying. Yes, yeah. I'm actually in a room that is not mine. Otherwise, I would have been surrounded by my posters, but not equaling yours, but representing me nonetheless.
These are my 3 of my favorites. There's an Alexander somewhere around here. I don't know where that is.
I just have to add that I've not seen any of you. It was a Thursday 42 years ago. Maybe
at least. And ladies and gentlemen, the next guy, all the way from England. Okay, somewhere between Bath and Stonehenge is where he is. And ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Roger Nicot. There you go, man.
Hey, wow. Thanks for having me, Joe.
Dude, you haven't changed.
Honor and a pleasure.
You have not changed one iota.
Oh, yeah, I have.
Well,
yeah, I have.
You're supposed to say shit like that. Remember that. That's important. And folks, the next guy was the leader of this merry mess, the owner of Thurston's Palace of Mystery, the guy without whom none of this would have happened. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only, all the way from the west coast of Florida, because I forgot exactly where it was, Bill Bradford, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, it's not really my fault. It's your fault, Joe.
My fault. Oh my gosh. This is my fault. Maybe I'll take credit for this.
That's what I'm saying.
I am, and it's kind of cool to have you all kind of sort of in the same room here. Bill, I want to start with you because obviously it started with you. I do want to say one thing in advance. I do not believe we can have a discussion about Buffalo and magic and all of this without saying the F word at least one time throughout the evening. Okay? So forgive me if I say that, okay? And I'm talking about the late lamented Forks Hotel, which
I'll tell you what, the Forks Hotel was not an inspiration for me, but it was a place that I realized that magic was popular in Buffalo. And I'm also pleased to say that Eddie asked me a couple of times to come in and pen bar on a weeknight or whatever when he couldn't get somebody else. So I did work there once as a backroom magician too.
I did not know that.
Yeah. And then at the same time, I was bartending around town and doing magic in about 3 different places.
That's on. Now, let me ask you this.
The real inspiration for Thurston's was a place in San Francisco called the Magic Cellar. And I tried to emulate the cellar as much as possible. And I think we went a little further, but that was the starting point for my thinking about doing this. And of course, at that time, I was also able to go to the Magic Castle too. So,
yeah, well, you were kind of I think you were something of a combination. The guys who've been to the castle, if you've been to the castle, you'll know what I mean. To a certain degree, Thurston's was a little bit like the castle in a couple of ways. That wonderful fireplace, of course. the bar itself with those incredible lamps above the bar. I wish we had a photo of them. Those were amazing. And with the desert scene on them. I remember those so very well. I'm not sure, Bill, at the end, did you sell those or not?
Well, yes. When we moved back to California, we sold 2 of them, I think. And I brought one here to Florida. I don't know why. That was one of the things that I was allowed to have. And I did sell it here. But those were made.
Good.
One of my customers at Piccolo's restaurant, when I was standing bar up there in North Buffalo, was a UB professor, and he was a hobbyist as a stained glass creator, and he made those for me.
Those, I remember those so well, and I would have loved to have had one of those, and I may even have asked you a couple of times if I could buy one. Folks, I just noticed down here in the corner, we've got one more guest to bring in. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for this? The one and only Mr. Harrison Harry Carroll.
Hey, I finally got on here. I was
it.
having some issues. Wow, Chip, Mike, I haven't seen you guys in a million years.
This guys, I've got to tell you something. Roger, you may have me beat. But this is one of the rare times on this show that I am one of the youngest guys in the room. I just yeah.
Not by much, I would guess.
Not by a whole hell of a lot, no, but enough that it makes me feel a little better. Anyways, and Bill was just telling us a little bit, Harry, about the origins of Thurston's.
I remember very well, and I could hear him. I just couldn't. I was on the other link, so I couldn't get in.
Yeah, well, I'm glad.
I did hear what he was saying, and I do remember the Magic Cellar in San Francisco.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember when Bill decided to open Thurston's. It was right after Eddie died, actually, right, Bill?
Mm-hmm. Yes, it was.
Yeah, it was not too long after. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, I did a little research before I came on, and if any of you want to know what the performers were on the weekend of April 7th in 81, 82, or 84, let me know.
You still keep those records?
Wait a minute, you know what?
Well, I did, yes. Anyway, 1981, on the week of April 7th, on Friday night, it was Mike Hilberger and Vic Tribuco. And on Saturday night, it was Brian Cale and Chip and Frederick North.
Oh, so my gosh. Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
What's that? 3 dead names there, unfortunately.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Hilberger passed away.
I'm not dead.
That's Frederick's gone.
That bottom photo is Frederick doing his thing. The photo above him is some guy. I don't know what the hell that was. Bill Okel. Yeah. And somewhere I'm pretty sure there's a picture of, is Tribuco still with us?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where is he?
Things. Yes.
Here's Vic Tribuco. Right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Wow. Where isn't he? He was going to be here.
Well, you know, I'm wondering who we might have filtering in as we go along. You never know.
Yeah, right. I sent the Lion a little note.
Well, I actually kind of pissed Joe DeLion off not too long ago. We won't go into it.
All right.
Not intentionally, but he took umbrage to what I did. Okay, I'll tell you what happened. We were at the Abbott's convention, and Joe, God love him, was having a hell of a time on stage. And I happened to mention to him, hey, remember the Abbott's convention? And what I was going to say was, when I came on stage, when nobody else would, okay? And he got, it's a very sore spot with him, and I don't blame him. I don't blame him. It was a tough night. Tough night show. Chip, you wanted to say something.
No, I was just I can't remember. I there was something that Harrison said. And Harrison, I apologize. If I call you Harry tonight.
Well, I am Harry.
Well, you are Harry, but after I left the
Aren't
force,
we all?
Aren't we all?
Well, as we can see, Chip is actually not.
but I'm not. Okay, so I don't know. There was something that Harry said about, or Bill said about those dates and stuff like that. That it just, I think I was kind of waving on. No, I've got nothing to say.
Okay, fair enough. Harry, I want to point something out to you right up here. Do you see this right here?
Frady Cat Rabbit.
Yes. Do you know whose that used to be?
I don't.
Yours.
Really?
You sold this to me at the PMA flea market.
Oh, wow.
In the middle of Thurston's.
Harry was the one that broke into my van.
3 more payments and it's yours, Joe.
Yeah, I'll get it eventually. But I want you to know that is one of my very favorite things in the entire universe.
Someday those will probably be worth some money.
You know, it's funny. I believe it or not, I have this ridiculous collection of about 10 of them, which is silly, and I still use that one. That's the one I still use.
Wow.
And I've got a number of them, and they're all from back in the day with Gene, and they fluctuate. Everybody goes from $1 up to about $100, but that's about it, which is strange to me.
Yeah. Wow.
You can't get a good one anymore. You can't buy a new one that's good.
Really?
We've got as you can see, we've got Roger here all the way, and Roger was actually earlier driving home from a Magic Circle meeting.
Well, it's actually the Bath Circle of Magicians.
Oh,
yeah. I've been I've been the American president of the Bath Circle of Magicians since 2017. Nobody else wants the job. Nobody else will do the job. Nobody else cares. American.
Yeah.
I understand. There's a couple of guys.
There's Harry above me.
Wow.
Oh God! Look at the red hair.
Yeah.
These pictures are really tiny, so it's very hard for me to see exactly what I'm
Wow.
doing.
Well, great.
I know exactly the trick that I was doing there.
What were you doing?
It was my king and ace routine, where I was probably even saying, do you know my favorite family of cards, or the King family? You remember the King family, don't you?
Oh God, the humor.
Yeah, you remember the King family, don't you?
I've got a shot of this. I don't know who the hell this is.
Wow, look at Bill.
God, look at that.
Bill Bradford in front of one of those magnificent.
I don't think I've ever seen Bill look that young.
Well, that's the place, folks. If you didn't know.
There it is.
I remember when that mural was being painted. That guy was really weird.
No.
He was really weird. And he came upstairs to the magic shop. I was helping Roger out in the magic shop at that time. And he came upstairs and he was looking around in the magic shop he wanted to buy something. And he decided he wanted to buy sponge balls in order to do the painting of the sponge balls on the mural.
Yes. I remember that. Yeah.
It was very strange. Bill, I want to know who was performing on those Thursday nights.
Thursday nights?
Yeah, the 7th and 3 different years, right?
Well,
I think you said Friday, did you? Saturday?
Yeah, no, for the most part, there was only one regular Thursday night performer was Bill Local.
Yeah.
And then later on, we turned it into a comedy night.
I remember that. Yeah.
So All these that I've got recorded are from the weekends. In
Perfect.
1982,
Okay.
Friday was Val Hayden and a guy named H. Carroll. Saturday was Carlini, Joe DeLion, and Bob Davis.
Oh,
Wow. Jeez. Every time you say a name, somebody's dead.
I feel fine.
You know, Bob Davis passed away.
Yeah.
Let's put it as an angel gets his wings, Harry.
Yeah, there you go. I like it. Ring the bell.
You know, if I can say a couple words, can I butt in here?
Of course you can.
I've spent probably the last 8 years ramping up storytelling, and now that's all I'm doing. And I got to tell you, well, I don't have to tell you, but I'm gonna. You know, the Thurston's, even the building had magic, because originally what was the garage next door, a working automotive garage, correct me if I'm wrong, Bill, was a carriage house, and that the rooms.
No. Thurston's, the building was a livery stable.
Livery stable, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
And the rings that were still
the horses were kept in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, the floor in that place was
cold in
like
the
6
winter.
inch cold.
I used to ask Harry to lick them because I wanted to see if he would stick. they would turn like frost white. You know what I mean? Like if a customer got you mad, you'd say, "Could you hold this for a minute?" You know, in Buffalo in the winter, they'd be there in spring. I mean, there was that magic. The second floor was the magic shop. Is that right?
Yes, I remember that.
And the third
attic
floor was the residency, and like the whole building just had. And you'd walk in, and there would be almost an aisle. You just barely.
Yeah, it was narrow.
Yeah, off to the right was just a small shelf. If you chose to have a beverage there, you had to kind of squeeze by the customers. It was almost like you had to go through the passage to get to the good part, that little stage in the back.
Yeah.
And that's,
I remember, Mike, as you walked in, there was that small shelf on the right, like you said.
Yeah.
Bill also had a kind of a marquee up there with the performing magician that night.
Yes.
Oh, that's good. Thank you for reminding me. I wanted to thank Rob Allen. He was the one that created that
Where's Rob?
frame for the photograph. And Rob Allen also created the close-up table.
Close-up table, the top hat.
But
yes.
I remember that you, Bill, when I first started working there, you asked me if I had any publicity photos, and I did not. So Joe and I went to a friend who had a photography studio up in Buffalo, and we had publicity photos done. And I dug those out for Joe.
You did, and forgive me, I can't find them on here, but
that's okay, because I cannot believe how incredibly young I was.
Well, Chip, here you go. This is for both of us, because I don't believe two things on this photo: how incredibly young I was and how incredibly fat I was. These are compliments of Bill Bradford. Thank you very much, Bill.
Look at the big hair.
Look, the hair is frightening on both of us.
That was big back then, the hair like
all
that.
The vanishing whippets.
Oh, God.
The vanishing whippets and chili that did it.
Oh, some good stuff. Some good stuff. That was some good stuff. There was also Roger just sent over to me. Where the hell is it? It's not here. Well, you sent it to me. You sent me a thing, one of the advertisements for. There it is.
One of the joint things that we did.
Yes, which is absolutely, it was this right here.
Yeah.
The Thurston's and Magic Attic anniversary. We're 1 year old.
Wow.
And it's so cool. It's so cool looking at this thing. There's a Friday and Saturday show starting at 9:30. We're going to hear more about those in just a moment. Social events, I mean, different things that happened to Thurston's. And, of course, the Magic Attic, where I spent way too many hours.
You do realize that was 40 fucking years ago.
I know.
More than that.
Yeah,
It was 40 years ago that we used that as a promo.
Yeah, that's amazing.
You
That's
know,
if you still have it. Is even more.
that is amazing. that number one that I found it. Now, and actually, to be honest, I think that came in an envelope from Bill Bradford, like a few years ago, to me in England, of a bunch of stuff that he found of Thurston Relevance.
Yeah, he sent me a bunch of stuff over here too. In fact, I wish it's in the other room.
Well, it's because he couldn't get rid of it. He couldn't get rid of it anyplace else, so he sent it out to the people that he figured could get rid of it.
One of the things he sent to me, I don't know, maybe to you as well, was one of the Thurston's medallions.
Oh yeah! Oh, I got one of those.
I have mine.
Oh shit!
It's on the wall in the living room.
I've got Thurston menus.
Oh
Wow! Yeah.
I mean, pictures of me eating fire at Thurston's.
I remember that.
I mean, he sent me all this shit. I mean, I'm gonna do this. I'm over. I'm 68 years old. What am I going to do with this stuff?
Speaking of
fire, there we go. Who's that guy?
Yeah. Wow. Do you guys remember, Bill? I want to know who the other two nights of performers were that you have yet. 2 years. You got 2 more.
Okay,
years
before I say that, I want to say that Harry Carroll was the one performer who performed the most, other than the in-house people. So
wow,
he's got the most. Anyway, 1984, the Friday night performers were Mike Barron and Nicot Wafer. Nicot Wafer. You remember who that? I'm sorry, I just made that up. Saturday night, a guy named Laszlo Molnar and Mike Barron.
Oh my
wow.
God. Oh my God.
You remember Laszlo?
Nobody knows what a Hungarian is. It's amazing.
Wow.
Oh, that's
who
great.
Who do we have the next year, Bill?
Pardon me?
Who do we have the next year? I think you had one more year.
1984 was the last year.
That was it.
And the 1983 Friday night was Mike Carboni and Johnny Main, and Saturday was Al Hayden and Bob Davis.
Al Hayden. Is Al? Where's Al? Anybody know where Al is?
L.A. Al's in L.A.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about Kevin
He's not
Ford?
doing a lot of magic lately.
No?
But he's making a lot of steampunk lamps.
Oh, there you go. That's Alan for you.
What about Kevin Ford? Somebody just talked to Kevin Ford.
Kevin's still up in Niagara Falls, still performing, still doing ESP stuff, and I neglected to let him know about this.
That's fun to know, though. Well, you know what? This is what happens with this show is we do it, and then people go on YouTube and watch it like 75 or 80 times. It's amazing.
Really?
Yeah, it's really something. It really and truly is. We get a big audience after the fact, and then which is fine with me as long as we get an audience. I don't care. I'm not making any money off it anyways. Plugging us in here so I can actually have power, which I don't have power. Hang on a second, guys. Something's not there. It goes. Okay. Anyways, before it turned off the power, we've got what I was thinking of something else. Bill, Roger, do you remember the Halloween show where Roger created the devil's head?
Oh, yeah.
Did the fire eating, and Bill, you proceeded to cut off the devil's head during the show. Do you remember that?
Oh, certainly. I remember that.
That was some pretty cool stuff.
Of course.
Roger, I have to give you credit for sitting through that process of making your math.
Yeah.
That must have been miserable.
I sat on my couch for what, 2 hours,
Yeah.
breathing through straws in my nose with plaster of Paris on my face.
That's killing me.
Man.
What about Mike? You know, it's so funny because so many, you know, of course, Thurston's was kind of the meeting house for the PMA.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So there were guys.
By the way, PMA was Performing Magicians Association.
Yes.
Right. We were discussing that earlier this week, Chip and I.
And the idea behind it was guys who did magic for a living couldn't get health insurance. I mean, cheaply.
Yeah.
So if you had an organization, you had an opportunity to get group insurance. That was, I think, the original idea behind it. And then, of course, we never did get health insurance.
Well, you know, it was Buffalo, and I suppose any place could be like this, but you know, there was always that weird rivalry between Thurston's and Forks, which really didn't exist. The rivalry really didn't exist, except for in the minds of certain magicians.
Well, I think when Eddie died, the Forks died, in my opinion. Now, there are people that would disagree with that, but it just was not the same place.
I agree.
And people at Thurston's really never thought about the Forks after Eddie died.
No.
So if any of that came, it obviously came from certain people that were working at the Forks.
Go ahead, Chip.
I was just going to comment on that if I could.
Yeah.
I did not have the pleasure of working the Forks Hotel under Eddie. But in retrospect, for me, in the end of my term there, it was kind of a hostile environment. And that's why Bill, you know, he kind of opened up a door for me, gave me another venue, and gave me another opportunity to perform. And for that, I'll be ever grateful. But I think, and Harry, you can agree or not agree with this, I don't mind. I think what happened when Eddie was there, Eddie was able to control the egos.
There were no egos, really, because Eddie was the king.
Eddie was the king.
And everybody knew that.
After Eddie left, or after Eddie was gone, I think there were people there that both their egos wouldn't fit in the same room, if you know that.
I agree with you. And then they started, the owners really didn't know anything about magic and were relying on these guys. And then they wanted tips, and Eddie, you know, nobody took tips when Eddie was there, except for Marvo, I think. But nobody took tips. And I always felt that I would be demeaned taking a couple of dollars. You shouldn't be able to put a price on that. It is an exchange in the moment. You can put a price on it when you do your show. But in the moment. But guys were taking tips. I wasn't there then, but I did hear all the conversations. Because after Eddie died, I think he died in March 31st. In October is when Oakle and I went to Thurston's. So we stayed there probably 3 or 4 months, and I just saw what Chip's talking about. These guys vying for power for some reason.
There were not to belabor the point, but there were two heir apparents, if you will, to Eddie, and they both thought they were the king of the Forks, and there it was, and we never saw either one of those people at Thurston's.
You're right,
and that's a fact. Now, whether it was
we may have seen one of them once. Bill would know better. Bill, did Ray?
I don't know. Now, Ray Wirtz wasn't one of those that I'm talking about. I loved Ray.
Ray Wirtz did work Thurston's.
Yeah,
he did.
Yeah,
I thought he did. But no, Ray and Jim Gaber seem to me to be at loggerheads trying to be the top guy or whatever.
Are you forgetting Harry? Harry, I love you. Are you forgetting who was behind the bar?
Oh, Carl. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it was
Carl worked Thurston's stage one night, and I'll tell you what, I don't like to talk bad about the dead, but you know, I think he did a lousy job, and I think he did it on purpose.
Really?
Well, that sucks if he did. I hate hearing, but you know what? Doesn't surprise me. But anyways, that was that. Let's get off of that subject.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line, and you guys know this, having performed, it's about the audience.
Absolutely.
It begins and ends with your show, and that's it. And when it's done, people tell you you're great, whatever, that evaporates because tomorrow they don't know your name, and they may not even know your name when they're telling you how great you are. They already forgot it.
That's absolutely true.
You take it for what it is. You try to do the best you can, give people the best you can, and it's done. It's over.
Yep.
You move on to the next show.
Absolutely. And, you know, I want to say this right now. If there are any budding magicians out there who want to get into this business and have some fun doing it, listen to what that guy just said. And don't forget it. Okay?
I'm glad you made us aware there might be other people out there because I was getting the feeling it was just us talking.
Yeah, for a minute.
So I want to watch what names I throw around.
Shit, we're going to go there. Look out. Here it comes. It wouldn't be the first time it happened on this show. I'll tell you right now. It wouldn't be the first time. Mike, we were talking earlier that you used to do Ronald McDonald.
Yeah, I've done a bunch of things. It actually started in Buffalo, and it may well have started. If I wasn't at Thurston's, I must have just left there. I got married in '82. I think I was working there then, wasn't I, Bill?
Yeah.
I know you. Bill, you were in my wedding.
Yes. I still have the pen. You gave out to the.
I was going to have all you guys in the wedding because you already had the tuxedo. You know, I was trying to see
those tuxedos. Oh my God!
I just didn't want you to make me look bad. But you know,
I do remember that, and I do remember that because I was tending bar with you, was still single.
There you go.
And I've gotten over it, but the invitation must have been lost in the mail.
There you go. So
Mike, you and Oakle put together a review kind of a show, didn't you?
Who's that? Me?
You and Bill Oakle?
Yeah, it was Brian Cale and Bill, I think, really headed it up. It was called Music, Magic, and Madness.
Yes.
And then it was me. I did a little kind of a mime juggling routine. That we had a couple of dancers, a guy who did impressions whose name escapes. He did sound effects. He'd tell a story and then do all these crazy sound effects.
Where did you do that?
I'm sorry?
Where did you perform?
Oh,
that?
We were around Western New York. You know, Brian, of course, was a TV personality. So he had a certain recognition and obviously a presence. So he took us to, well, we had the morning show, right? So I know we did Jamestown. We did what's the theater in North Tonawanda? Is it Riviera?
Riviera.
In fact, that was a great show. I think Rob Allen was on that show.
Well, was that the PMA show?
No.
There was a PMA show at
there was.
That show was so memorable.
The Riviera show was a charity event for what was the disease Eddie died of?
Leukemia.
Okay.
Leukemia the money was donated to the Leukemia Foundation. Yeah, Robert was on that show. I was on it. Yep. Who else? Mike.
Yeah. Oh God. Carl Weisinger. If you remember Carl Weisinger,
sure, I do.
Was on that show. Sure. And what I remember distinctly about Carl Weisinger, this is terrible. I love you, Carl. You're a great man. You're a great man. But even you would laugh. Now you would. Maybe then you wouldn't. But he was doing the thimbles. Okay. And one of the first things he did was he put that thimble up on this finger.
Great.
To the entire audience, just like this, and made that thimble penetrate through a handkerchief. and he flipped the entire audience the bird, and there wasn't a dry eye in the house. God
There's a wonderful magician friend of mine named Bill Goldman, and he used to have this bit, and he'd say, "There's two things I want to tell you. One, no, wait, one." I mean, it was just brilliant.
Bill Goldman was down in South Florida, the Hollywood, at a magic shop down there, the Wizard's Den.
Yeah.
At a time
after he retired.
Yeah.
And he lives in Boca now.
Yeah, he was a real nice guy. I remember him there a couple times.
And the bits the guy came up with are just brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
The what is it called? The golden fleece or the golden thread, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
It was really good. It was really good.
The yellow ball of yarn.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, that's what he called it.
Yeah. Good stuff.
When we did that show at the Riviera, I came out with a cassette for my background music, which was Django Reinhardt, kind of a 20s jazz guitar thing. And they started playing it, and all of a sudden this voice comes to me from downstage in the orchestra pit. This little old man is sitting there, and he says, "Excuse me, can we try something?" And I said, "What do you have in mind?" It turns out it was the owner's father. And that Riviera Theater has one of the only Wurlitzers still working.
Yeah.
So I went to a concert there.
He had played the Wurlitzer during silent films.
Sure.
So he said, "Do you mind if I try something?" And since I was doing this little kind of silent clown juggling routine, he just followed me. It was one of my all-time favorite shows ever, because if I made a mistake, it was kind of like, I felt like Freddie the Freeloader. You know what I mean? If you made a mistake, they'd do just a little cowbell or something. He was right with me. Like we were communicating, and it was fabulous.
Wow.
It was like back in the day at Abbott's. Yeah.
What's that?
Like back in the day at Abbott's.
Oh my God. And that whole theater, you wanted to inhale the dust because you said, "This is vaudeville, man." Like, if I'm going to get cancer, let it be now. It was just, give me some of this. And he was playing this old Chaplin stuff, and it's great.
Mike,
I made it suck, but I never had so much fun,
You should see that theater now. It's been completely redone.
Yes.
It's gorgeous. I mean,
and ironically, the organs were made right there in Tonawanda, correct?
Yeah,
they were made at the Wurlitzer factory right across from Melody Fair. No, right next to Melody Fair.
Yep, right. Yeah.
I remember way back when I was working at Rubens Backstage at the Dinner Theater, which was around the corner, sort of kind of from Thurston'S on Edward. The Shays had just reopened, and a friend of ours took us on a little tour of the Shays, and he takes us up on the stage, and we're on the Shays Buffalo. Oh my God. And he said, "I want you to look at something really kind of cool." And we're like, "What is that?" Little knowing that he had me. And he said, "You see these little holes, these little tiny little holes in the stage?" He said, "There was a magician." And I said, "Blackstone," and he threw the darts into the stage. And he said, "How did you know that?" I said, "Because it was freaking Harry Blackstone."
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That's a pretty big stage too, isn't it?
Oh my God. Can you imagine Harry? Now we're talking about not young Harry, old Harry.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that was pretty amazing. Now, Roger, you, my friend, have a whole assload of magic that you have created. One thing in particular that I don't have it here because it's actually in my working case is the bar cup.
Oh, the bar cup, yeah.
It's this thing. Have you seen this, guys? It's a chop cup, but it's a shaker cup.
Mm-hmm.
The finale is you put the top back on the son of a bitch, and you can pour water out of it or liquid out of it.
You pour liquid out of it.
After producing a shot glass.
Well, that all happened because, and again, it all originated from Thurston'S bar. I mean, I had done a chop cup routine for years. And then I really honed it at Thurston'S. But later on, my the chop cup that I used, which was a Rings and Things Don Allen size, which is really big, was stolen from my bar.
It was not me.
No, I know who it was.
Chip's van.
I know who it was because he's using a Don Allen chop cup from Rings and Things without the Don Allen balls.
I know who. The big ones, yeah.
Yeah. No, I know who's got who stole it from me. I know.
Oh, that sucks.
But I can also say that I can actually thank him, because if he hadn't stolen it, I'd never have gotten to where I am with it. Because I called my friend Al Hayden the next day, and I said, Alan, you won't believe what happened. And I told him that somebody stole my chop cup. And he went, because I had built stuff for him in the past. I said, Alan, somebody stole my chop cup. And he goes, make one. Make one? He goes, yeah, you're handy. Make one. And I'd never worked with metal before. So I decided I'd make one.
And you did, my friend. You did. And let me tell you something, guys. I saw Roger at the Genie convention, the first Genie convention. And if you've never been to a Genie convention, gang, you haven't lived. Okay. I'm serious. Great convention. I know, Bill, you and I saw each other at the Magic Palooza here in Orlando. With when Shimada was there, which had its problems, but and Dan usually does a great convention, and I'll take nothing away from Dan Staple, he's a great guy. But I'll tell you, Genie is held. It might be held one more time. I think they're talking about one more at least. I hope so, because it's a great convention. It's held at the Florida Mall Hotel, which is a lovely hotel. And it's 5 minutes from my house, so it's even better. I like that. Saves me lots of money. But now with the advent of them giving the dealer room to anybody who wants to go for free, which is lovely for you guys. I think it's great. But I'm not registering ever again, because I've seen as much magic as I want to see at a convention. I get more than enough on Penn and Teller every couple of weeks. Whatever it is, at this point, I do enjoy. If there's a magic show on, I turn it on. There's no two ways about it. But what a great convention, Bill. What I wanted to ask you something. Now, Thurston's today is no longer Thurston's. Thurston's left when you shut the door the last time. After you had. In fact, I still have, believe it or not, one of your wine glasses that you sold. It was absolutely perfect for the card rise deck, for a poker size deck of cards. Remember those? I've still got one of those you sold towards the end there. It's sitting out in my magic studio out in the back, doing nothing because I don't do that trick anymore. There's still a deck of cards in it. I think it's a rising deck as well. And guys, while I'm thinking about it, Harrison, Roger, Chip, Bill, Mike, listen, I want to tell you something, especially Bill and Harrison. You guys accepted me as one of the guys, okay? And I could not have been, and Roger, yourself, well, all of you guys, you accepted me as one of the guys. And I was this old fat fag that came around and did something funny once in a while. And young fat fag at that time, I guess. I can say that. It's okay. It's me. And I want to thank you guys, because I'm going to tell you something. I would never, ever have gone to Japan and done this.
Oh, wow. Great.
I was a wand keeper in Japan. I made wizards in 2 different languages. I never would have wound up without Thurston's and what happened to me there and what I learned from everybody else. I would never have been on the stage of the Diamond Horseshoe. as the lead actor in the Diamond Horseshoe Show for the last 2 years of its life. I never would have had that. I never would have had any of the skills that I have today. And I want to publicly, before we still got a little time, but I wanted to publicly thank you for that before I did anything else, for all of you. Because
I think we could all say that, though. I mean, I performed after Thurston's for 30 years as for a living. I probably wouldn't have been able to do that if it wasn't for all the work I had in Buffalo, through the Forks, through Thurston's, through the private events and parties, to hone those skills enough, to go out and do it for a living.
Well, you know what?
So we're all, I think, grateful.
You are, and I appreciate that. But, without you guys, Thurston's wouldn't have been much of anything. It's all due to the variety of performers and the good performers that we had there. And I thank you, because there isn't a day goes by I don't think about the place. I mean, it's really was the best, probably the best part of my life.
But and Bill, in fact, you're the one that gave... I had company over, and I made chicken Thurston for them.
Roger, what were you going to say?
Bill, you're the one that gave us the opportunity to expand where we were with our magic. You gave us the opportunity to expand where we were.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'll tell you what. I mean, I thought that I was a magician. Granted, I was a member of the Magic Castle. I performed in the parlor at the Magic Castle, and it wasn't until I was at Thurston's that I really started developing my real skills as a magician.
Yeah,
and it was with the contact that I had from magicians like Bill Okel.
Oh wow,
yourself, that made me expand my thoughts. So without Thurston's,
there he is.
Without Thurston's, it never would have happened.
It's a fact. It's a fact. And and when you say skills as a magician, there's more to it than that, though. We were able to go on stage at Forks. Forks was great. Okay, I had a great time at Forks. I learned a lot from the guys at Forks too. Honestly, I did. I truly did. Well, a couple of them. Some of them I wouldn't give you 10 cents, but that's beside the point. But what I learned from both places was how to be not just a magician, but to be an entertainer. And to not just mystify or have some fun, fool people, if you want to call it fooling people, but to entertain them at the same time. And I think that's so very wonderful to be able to do. I mean, I watched Harry do it any number of times and still baffle the crap out of me.
But, I think in those young years, and I can only speak for myself, and I mentioned this to Bill Okel a long time ago. In those early years, I was a guy trying to be a performer. And then I saw a video later on, and I was just performing. It's a big difference there. Because you're young, you're learning, you're trying to be, you don't know who you are yet when you're in front of people, and to get that relaxed, comfortable persona about you that you can interact with people, and it's fresh and it's natural and it's not disingenuous and it's not manufactured, and it takes a while to get there. And all those early years allow you that opportunity to go through that process.
And you have the opportunity not only to be really good, but you've also got as much as I hate to think, we've got the opportunity to be bad.
Yeah.
And if a single one of you says a fucking word, I will kick your ass. I swear to God, I will kick your ass. Because there was a particular episode with a duck. We won't even talk about it. Right? I learned.
I have that duck.
Huh?
I was going to ask how many of you guys took the bus ride to Chautauqua to see Blackstone Jr.
Oh hell! I drove with a carload of people. Yeah,
I just remember we were on the bus and there was no restroom, but we were drinking beer the whole time. We pulled into Chautauqua Institute. The doors opened. A guy came on and said, "This is the Chautauqua Institute, established in blah, 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 blah." And everyone said, "You better get out of the way, or we're gonna like hose you down right here."
Yeah,
because
exactly.
everyone had to go to the bathroom so bad, it was unbelievable.
Do you remember? Do you remember the show itself?
I think I got a picture with him.
The show itself?
Oh, I do. I'm gonna tell a joke now. He had that guy up on stage.
Yeah. He did the whole shtick, but it wasn't his full show. He brought a zigzag.
Yeah.
And the garden, we wanted to talk about the Garden of Flowers. I remember it distinctly. It was rather frightening, actually, that particular show. And he bought a zigzag and he did the hand and he did the ropes. He did the rope thing, which he was a freaking master. Of course, so was his dad. He learned from the best, didn't he? You know, actually, there's a picture somewhere in here. I believe there's a picture of Bill and Blackstone because Blackstone played Melody Fair, as I recall.
I saw that.
Yeah,
that was before Thurston's.
Here, I got a picture here with him. I just found it. Let's see.
I think I remember the bus ride more than the
you might be right.
Actual show. There was a blast going down there.
Who is this?
Can you see this?
Asmars.
Oh, where'd it go?
No.
Can you guys see this?
Wait, what are we looking at?
Asmars.
Wait. I don't know. Maybe it's got to be on this screen. I have two screens. Can you see anything?
No.
Not a damn thing.
How about now?
Nothing.
Nope.
Huh.
I'm trying to see what there's.
There we go.
That's Bill and that's me.
No, wait.
Better from Bill.
Yeah.
Let's see. No, I'm sharing the screen. You can't see this?
No.
Oh, wait. Let's try now.
Nothing.
Huh. All right. Never mind.
It's a weird platform. What can I tell you?
Yeah, it's different.
That's Bill and Frederick again. Hang on a second.
Oh, Frederick, yeah.
Oh,
me.
Roger.
Got so much crap here. I don't even know what to do with it all. Anyways, I know that Harry was there. Did Harry come for a show or he didn't perform? Did he, Bill?
Yes, at Melody Fair he did.
No, I mean in person.
But Melody Fair was before Thurston's.
Yeah.
Melody Fair was before Thurston's.
He came through again.
And then,
for some reason, I think he played Shays Buffalo.
It was 1983. He was at Shays Buffalo for 3 or 4 nights. And one of the nights he and Gay came into Thurston's. And that's the picture you have.
Yeah, it's in here somewhere. I've got so many. I can't. These are little teeny tiny pictures, and you know what? Even with these, I'm screwed. Wait a minute.
Bill Local's calling me. Hold on.
Oh, that's almost my phone was ringing.
Hello.
I didn't answer it. It must have been Bill.
Hello. Are you watching the show?
Oh, that's my phone was ringing. How do you get in? Hello.
I don't. Maybe Joe can send you, fax you the.
Bill, is Bill a member of the group?
Otherwise, it'll be on YouTube later.
Okay.
Hang on, Bill. I'll send you the link. Tell him.
Send him the link to come on screen, Harry. Yeah.
Hang on.
No, I'm not got your screen up here. I see all the participants.
Okay.
Well, Bill, if we can get you on screen, I would be more than excited.
He says he can't get into to be on the show.
Tell Bill to check his email in about 3 seconds.
Check your email, Bill.
And you're sending him the link for the show itself, right? For the on screen.
I've got the program.
We'll get to you, Jim.
Yeah.
Kind of exciting.
That's not right.
Now, is this the part where you guys are actually just distracting the audience so you can secretly do the magic?
We're secretly loading Oakle under this center cup right here.
This is called Scaredy Cat Oakle. He disappears.
Sorry.
Well, that's all right. No, it's perfectly all right. If we get Okel on screen, it'll be great. Chip, what were you going to say?
Well, I guess I wanted to jump on the bandwagon there with the accolades towards Bill and Harry. When I started, Joe, you were the one that came to Forks one night, and you could tell by that time I was getting pretty tightly wound, and said, I want to take you downtown and introduce you to Bill Bradford. So we drove downtown. We caught it was probably last call or near last call or something. And Bill said, let's see what you can do. And I sat there and I did a few things. I had come up, but like Harry said, I was performing. I wasn't really being part of the audience or bringing and I was just performing. But I had worked out a pretty good close-up routine, and Bill welcomed me in. And I have to tell you now, right now, I never thought then, and I still don't think today, that I was good enough to be with a group that included Harry and Bill Okel. And I always felt honored that you guys allowed me to come into that group. And Harry, especially, what you were talking about, you learned the difference, you said, of being a performer
and trying to perform and just being a performer.
And you taught me the difference. You used to walk up to me because, Bill, you got me in front of a crowd. I had never done stand-up work in my life until I started it. You were the one responsible for getting me in front of a crowd. And every time I performed, especially when the performance went well, Harry was always there to tell me afterwards what a great job I did. And then, without being critical, you always offered me advice as to how I could elevate my performance to the next level. And I just really appreciate that. And I can't tell you how much I miss it. I mean,
so what we're saying, guys, and everybody who I'm looking at right now, I respect greatly. I mean, I really do. Not only as performers, but as people, as human beings. I'm lucky to know you, including Okel, who's off there in the ether somewhere. And I want to tell you, one of the biggest thrills of my life, believe it or not, and I've done some pretty cool shit, was the day that someone called me and said, hey, we want you as a member of the PMA. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, we had some good names in there too. Jeff Hobson was in the PMA. I can't even remember everybody now.
Yeah, Hobson. I mean, but just to be amongst, Rob Allen to me was a freaking legend, for God's sake.
Yeah, no, he still is.
Amazing guy. I've somewhere that's out in the studio as well. I've got what he called a fectorine. Remember those?
Yep. Yeah.
And if you turned it in the right corner, it looked like Eddie was peeing in the corner. It's a fact, folks. It's a fact.
I have to say something about Bill Okel. Mm-hmm. I mean, when I was in the presence of Harry Carroll or Rob Allen, and I could name many more, but probably when I first met Okel, it was out at the other place, the Forks. And of all the people that I had come in contact with, I found Bill probably the most intimidating. He did his demeanor, and when he did some of his close-up effects, he used to do an ace of spades that rose through the deck of cards, and it was totally angle proof, and it just used to. I mean, he was a magician's magician, and I say that. And it wasn't until I got to know him, though, at Thurston's, that I found out, I was always intimidated by this guy, but, Bill he was one hell of a guy. He was a great guy.
A nice guy. Now, maybe we can settle something right now. I know Bill is not in the room to defend himself or to say whether or not this actually happened. But
I take everything back.
Chip mentioned something to me the other day that he thought that Bill might have said. Did Bill Ogle ever say that the cups and balls could not be performed sitting down?
I never heard him say that. I never saw him perform it sitting down.
I have to say, Joe, I got to clarify. I never said Bill said that. I heard somebody say it. That Bill.
Exactly. But you heard somebody attribute it to Bill.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I can understand the logic because your angles are really bad for loading the cups if you're seated.
I couldn't agree with you more. And let me tell you, when I have those things, when I touch these, it's for me. Okay, nobody's going to see that. They're going to see my chop cup because you know what? That's pretty good, or so I've been told.
You did a good chop cup routine, as I recall.
I tried.
Still do.
Gentlemen, I'm still plugging away. Gentlemen, this has been an absolute delight. We actually kept an audience for a little while, which was nice. And nobody said anything, but I think they were just interested in whatever was being discussed. What a joy.
It's
Bill,
been fun seeing you guys. Wow.
Bill, if you're out there, I would have you on the show in a heartbeat. And if you want to be on, please come on. I'd love to have you. And along with those other guys. Bill Bradford, do you have anything to say in the wind up here?
Well, just once again, I'm really grateful to all of you. Actually, now that I think about it and know that so many of you have led successful lives in show business, I'm just proud of all of you, and I thank you so much for this opportunity to see you all again. Thank you.
This was on stage in Osaka. I want you to know in Osaka. That's what that picture was taken. And it's thanks to everybody in this room, as well as Ogle and all these guys. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks, Bill.
It has been a privilege to have all of you.
It's been my privilege. Thank you for having me.
Great to see you guys.
Yeah. Wow. Great to see you guys. I still see Raj all the time and Bill once in a while, but I haven't seen you guys.
If the Genie Convention comes back to Orlando, please, gentlemen, I know, Roger, I know your ass will be there because you're selling that shit. I want to buy that candle really bad.
Joe, you're supposed to add clean restrooms. I mean, you have to have a look,
Oh, listen.
Why?
Listen.
I have to know why. Why? Huh?
Interestingly enough, Mr. Bradford right there was actually in the old Thurston'S, which is now called what?
Founding Fathers.
Founding Fathers. And he said the restrooms were not up to Thurston's standards.
Boom.
There you go.
Which is something to be said. But if the Genie Convention comes back to Orlando again, gentlemen, nothing would please me more. I know I'll see Roger because I'm going to buy that candle thing eventually. That was on the Penn and Teller show. So what the hell? It must be good. But if you can come, I would consider it a privilege to buy each and every one of you a drink.
Just one?
By the time we were done, it would be the Thurston'S freaking convention. Okay,
make it a prestidigitator. You got a deal.
Yeah, Joe, can you mix a levitation?
Levitation.
Wow.
Yeah. You know what? If I can't fix one, I'm willing to bet that guy right there in the middle on the bottom.
No, I don't want to embarrass him because Mike Perry and I had this conversation last week. He said he didn't have a clue. So I asked the man himself. Nothing. He didn't have a clue.
Nothing.
Nobody can remember what was in it.
It happens at Thurston.
Shit. You know what? We got to figure it out before that Genie Convention if we all go. How's that?
Definitely.
Gentlemen, Thank you.
Guys, it's been fun. It's been wonderful.
Everybody
stay safe.
Meet back here in 40 years. I'm worthy.
I would like to do it a lot sooner than that.
Yeah.
I love you. Take care, boys.
Okay, thanks, everybody.
And thanks again. Awesome sauce. Bye-bye. Wow, kids. I just had a really good time. These guys were dear friends and still are, apparently. Wonderful friends. And I feel lucky to have known each and every one of them. I wish we could have had Bill Okel on. Bill, if you're out there, believe me, it wasn't for lack of wanting you. It's just I didn't quite know how to get a hold of you. And frankly, I there it is. But we could do it again. We could do it again and again and again and again. The interest will be there. I know. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. We'll be back again. The next big one for Magic, I think, is going to be, unless we get Okel, is going to be next year, actually, 2023 in January. We are going to actually come to you live from the Orlando Collectors Convention, where we will have the guys who ran the Magic Shop at Walt Disney World, not only on Main Street, USA, but over in Fantasyland at Merlin's. So come on and see us. That will actually come to you live from the convention. And I got to tell you, I'm excited about that one. We'll bring Jack back again when we have some more theatrical stuff. She might have been a little bit lost in this mess, but she was no less missed. I love you. I love you. And remember, folks, when you're out there, here's what you do. Look for the helpers, because you know what? They're out there. When you find them, you join them, and you become one of those helpers. Take care, everybody. I love you. Bye-bye.